How do you know when it's the right time to go for your dream? It just seems like logically that there's an indication that, okay, or a sign that there's some kind of sign that now's the time for me to pull the trigger. Now I'm ready. Now I've got all my pieces in place. Now I'm good. Now I can do this. How do you know when that time is? Well, my name is Felicia Searcy, your Dream Life Activator. It is my joy to be your partner in believing. And in this live video, I want to help you understand, help you be able to determine when is the right time for you to pull the trigger and go for this thing that you really want to go for. And stick around to the end because I got a delicious gift for you that I want to share to support you going further in this thing that's really coming alive for you. So I often hear from people, how do I know when it's the right time for me to really do this? How do I know if it's right for me to leave my job or add this element to my business or, marry the guy or the woman or, whatever it is? How is it that you know that now's the time to do it? Well, one of the things that I've noticed in the years of doing this work with people and thousands of people around the world and helping people really take that leap into the life that's screaming for them, that is longing for them to live, is that there is a part of you that is going to work really hard at keeping you safe. And what I've noticed, and it's a piece that I've had to stir down in myself, is that there's a lot of energy in getting ready. That these are the things that I need to do to get ready. These are the things that I need to have in place in order for me to do this. Now, there is an element to that. I am not saying that whatever it is that you're just going to throw it out to the universe and just leap without any kind of foundation. I'm not even going to call it a net, but it's any kind of foundation in place. And what I find is that people over-prepare. People are in a constant state of readiness. And one of the things that I want to help you understand is that you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. So when you're asking the question, you're business owners. I mean, you're here in Women Helping Women, entrepreneurs. You're a business owner. So you're building a business, whether you're brand new, whether you've been at it for a while, whether you're status quo or starting a new initiative. I would imagine that there's something that you've got going right now where you're wondering, when's the time to do this? When's the time to take the leap? And especially now, in the world that we're in right now, where there's so much uncertainty, there's so much hesitation. So many people are putting things on hold, waiting to see what the direction is, what's happening, what's going to happen with ourselves individually and with our world collectively. And there's this initiative, I am imagining, that is just knocking at the door of your heart saying, now's the time. Now's the time. So how do you know? How do you know if you're being irresponsible or you're being fearful? And what I mean by irresponsible, how do you know if you take the leap now, you're just being irresponsible, or if you don't take the leap, that you're mired in fear, that you just can't get yourself to do this? All right, so drop some comments in the comment section if this is resonating with you at all, or if what your initiative is, what you would love to break loose and get going with in order to be able to serve people with. All right, so how do you know? All right, well, first of all, let's talk about the nature of your dream. Here's the thing about your dream. Your desire, this deep desire to bring an initiative forward in the form of your business or new relationship, a new development in your health, or an action that you're going to take on your calendar or in your checkbook. It feels risky. I'm not talking about, planning a trip to the grocery store. I'm talking about the thing that feels risky, that even just the thought of it causes you to want to constrict in your throat and knot in your stomach. That's the thing I want you to bring to mind right now as we talk about this. And every single one of us has something like that. And for many of us, COVID kind of pushed us into it, right? That this virus might have sped the clock up for you or might have put the brakes on. But either way, you can feel the anxiety. You can feel the fear shuddering in your system as you're wondering, is now the time to take the risk? Is now the time to do this? So, a couple of things I want you to understand about that desire that's bubbling up inside of you that's causing you to consider this kind of risk. Number one, understand that that desire is not your desire. And I talk about this every single time I come on and do a live. Every single time I talk about this when I do a live. And the reason I talk about this is because I want you to get this. This is one of the most important things that you can grasp, is to understand that the nature of that desire that's moving through you right now, that's not your desire. See, the purpose of our dream, the thing that feels risky right now, the thing that's causing your stomach to jump in butterflies and your throat to constrict and your head to freeze, when you think about it, that thing, it's a work of beauty. It's a work of art. It's the way that life is inviting you to discover more of who you are created to be. It's the thing that life is saying, hey, there's more of you to bring. There's more of you to know. There's more of you to experience. And there's more of life that's wanting to live through you. And the only way that this universe has to wake us up to that is to actually put a desire in our hearts that feels risky, where we have things to lose. That when you think about doing it, that your brain, the part of you that wants to keep you small, will start filing in your head, start, bringing down, just like marching across the movie screen of your mind. They're the words that I'm looking for. Everything you have to lose. And here's the thing about you, the fact that you're in this group, it means that your life is already good, right? I'm not saying that it's perfect, and I'm not saying that there are things that you would rather not be in your life. But the reality is that your life is already good. So when you're thinking about this initiative, you're thinking about this desire, the thing that makes it so dangerous is that you're putting good on the line. You're putting your good life on the line. And it feels really risky, which is why there's this turmoil. Do I do it or not? Do I do it or not? There's that great song by Janis Joplin. It was actually written by Chris Christopherson. I'll get the word out. That freedom is realizing that there's nothing left to lose. When you have a lot to lose, when there's good in your life, you are much more hesitant to take that leap, to take that risk. And so first of all, I want to acknowledge that the very fact that you're considering it is a representation, it's evidence of what a remarkably courageous being you are. The very fact that you're considering putting good at risk is evidence that you are this amazing, committed, courageous being. Now, doesn't necessarily feel any better, or it doesn't necessarily diminish the risk, right? And when you understand that it's this life force moving through you that's waking you up to more, then you begin to understand that it's really not your desire, that it's life moving through you. And if we really got that, then we would understand that life force, it then supplies us with everything required in order to bring this initiative, bring our desire into form. So, first and foremost, understand that your desire to bring something into form, not your desire. It's life wanting more through you and for you. And The bigger the risk, the bigger the hesitation. The more you have to lose, the more the hesitation. And so how do you know then? How do you know if this is the time? Well, first of all, recognize those places where you've settled, where things have become good enough. Good enough is good enough, that you've let good enough be good enough. Here's the deal. None of us are created to live a good enough life. You are created to live this rich, fulfilling, unimaginable life. You are created to live life abundantly. And you've built this life up until this point that's good. And now you're feeling this urge for more. That's the urge that is saying, what you've had up to this point has been good. Celebrate it. And there's more. There's more seeking expression through you and by means of you. And so understand that you are going to have fear. Fear is not an indicator that you're not to do it. I want you all to hear this. I want you to hear this. Fear is not an indicator that this is not what you're supposed to do. Fear is just simply an indicator that you are at the edge of what you've known up to this point. Fear is an indicator that you are on the leading edge of what you've been an expert at up to this point. And now you're getting ready to step into uncharted territory. Now you're getting ready to step into an existence that you've never known for yourself before. It's unrecognizable. So your body, your mind is going to respond in fear. But what happens is that people mistake the fear for guidance. Fear is not guidance. Fear is just simply telling you you've never done this before, and there's a part of you that's wanting to keep you safe. There's a part of you that's wanting to keep you from taking the risk. Now, if you go back to what I shared from the get-go, when you understand that the nature of your desire is life-seeking expression through you to express more of you by means of you, then you understand that there is a power bigger than you at work, you, the personality, moving through you and functioning in this process. And that doesn't mean that there's not going to be some bumps along the road, but understanding that there is this power that is you moving through you in remarkable, powerful, indescribable ways. And yes, it's risky. Every time you get on the interstate, every time you walk down the street, it's risky. Now, it's not as obvious, right? Because you've learned how to do it. I know how to drive, and now it's just a matter of staying out of the way of other people. This new thing, you don't know how to do it yet. So that's why it feels even more risky. But when you understand the nature of your desire is the power of life, the power of love moving through you, and understand that you have so much more behind you and so much more supporting you than what's holding you down, you begin to entertain the risk. All right, here's the other thing to understand when you're determining, is this time, am I being irresponsible, or is this the time for me to take the leap? Your dream, this initiative, it's no respecter of time. It's no respecter of conditions. It really doesn't matter what your world is telling you. In fact, it's kind of sneaky because it shows up during those times when it just seems to be the most inopportune time, that this is not the time to do this. And what I want you to know is that when it shows up and you're clear, oh my gosh, this is absolutely what I'm supposed to do, now's the time to move forward. I'm not saying to leave everything behind and go jump off the cliff and say, woo, I'm taking a leap. That yes, you can put some a plan to it. You can put a process to it, and you want to get your feet moving. So here's a test to really determine if this is the thing for you to do. Number one question to ask yourself, is this the thing for me to really take a leap and take the risk for? The number one question to ask is, do I love this? When I think about this, do I really love this? Or is it something that I'm kind of sort of lukewarm over? You're not going to take a risk for something that you're kind of sort of lukewarm about. So you want to make sure that this is something that you have a burning desire for. A burning desire for. You can't imagine living without it. When we have something that we have a burning desire for, you are willing to put things at risk. I mean, think about those things that you care deeply about and that you're willing to go to the mat for, that no matter what, you're doing this. You do that for the people that you love. You do that for your animals. I'm inviting you to do that for your dream, to do that for your initiative. That, first of all, give yourself permission to really want this thing, because that's a whole process in and of itself, is to give yourself permission to really want something. Then you literally want to turn the flame of desire up, because you will not go for something if you don't have a burning desire for. So ask yourself, do I love this? Is this something that I couldn't imagine my life without? You want to make sure that you've got something that you have a burning desire for. So when things rock and roll, when things like COVID show up, that you're willing to lean into the discomfort. You're willing to do what it's going to take, learn what you need to learn, make the changes that you need to make in order to keep your momentum going. So understand that your dream is no respecter of time. It's no respecter of conditions. And work with really realizing, getting clear, do I love this? Do I love, can I imagine my life without this? When I think about what I do, I couldn't imagine not doing this. I couldn't imagine not helping you build out your business, build out a life that absolutely brings you alive. And I have honed my skills. I have honed my abilities. I've got evidence of it in my own life. I've honed a system, and people, thousands of people around the world have evidence that this works. So it really doesn't matter whether I'm looking into the lens of a camera or I'm in front of a room of 1,000 people, that my deepest desire is to help you build out a life that you love. And I have a burning desire for that, which means I'm willing to do whatever it's going to take. I will go to the mat for your dream. I will go to the mat for your dream. I want you to have a dream that's what you will do, that you will go to the mat for your dream. So, number one, understand that your dream is no respecter of time and conditions. Number two, ask yourself, do you have a burning desire for it? Now, you have to have a clear vision to know whether or not you have a burning desire. So number three is that you really want to work with creating a very clear vision for yourself. That you want to see this. We have this amazing faculty called our imagination. It's our ability to consciously create and weave images that bring us alive. Well, you're weaving images all the time, right? But this is, you're creating images in your mind that when you think about it, absolutely brings you alive. So you want a clear vision. You need a clear vision that you are driving your energy towards. All right, so that's number three. Number four, get clear around what are some things that you need in place to get going. This is the difference between just throwing it out to the universe and just taking that leap blind and realizing, yes, there are some things that you want in place. When there's a woman that I've been working with now for a couple of years. She was really respected in her field. And she had worked up to the top in her field, that there was no place else for her to go. And it was one of those things that she could have done in her sleep, that when she went into that job, that she literally checked her soul at the door, that she was so depleted in that job. But she was the primary breadwinner in the family. Her husband wasn't working. And, the biggest thing for her was the income and the benefits. That if she walked away from this job, she didn't have income and she didn't have benefits. So she knew it was irresponsible if she just jumped out and said, I'm just going to throw it out to the universe. I'm going to take a leap and, hope it all works out. A wish and a prayer. And this is why so many people fail, that they just jump out on a wish and a prayer. Now, some people, that's the fuel to get them going, that they get going once they light that fire underneath them out of necessity, that they get going. But for her, she needed a bit of a plan. So when we started working together, she got clear about what her vision was, and we laid out. So what are the things you can do where you are with what you have today? What are some things you can do now before a single thing in your world changes? And she began to implement those things and doing some of the other things that I was teaching her to do, which was the right use of her imagination, showing up as the woman who was doing this, allowing herself a greater degree of abundance in her life, staring the fear down that said, you have so much to risk. I mean, remember, she was the primary breadwinner and she had a job that she had been where she had benefits. So it was a risk. It was a real risk for her to step out and take this leap. So we put some foundations in place. So she wasn't just flying without a parachute, so to speak, just jumping off with nothing underneath her. But that couldn't happen unless she was clear about what it was that she wanted and she had a burning desire for it. And and we didn't have like a full-on year's plan. It was, okay, so what can you do? If you really were doing this, and this is the question that I ask you, if you really were doing this, and you had this image and you knew that you had a burning desire for it, what are the things you can do? What can you do where you are with what you have? That question alone, working with that question alone, is a game changer. That will fundamentally transform the way that you interact with your world. Because when you really start working with that question, what can I do where I am with what I have? And you really see how much resource you have, how supplied you are, how richly abundant you are, then you see that, you know what, you really do have what it takes. You have what it takes, and your world is providing you what it takes for you to take that leap, for you to say, okay, now's the time for me to do that. So it's understanding that so let's do a quick review. Understand that your dream is no respecter of time. It is not going to consider conditions. It's not going to consider what's going on in your life. And it's not going to consider whether or not you're ready. Remember, you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. This is something brand new that you've never known for yourself before. And so you are bumping up against the edge of your unknown. So number one, understand that your dream is no respecter of the conditions or what's going on in your life. Number two, get really clear about what is that dream, what is that desire, what is that initiative. Really see those images in your mind. And then you want to build a burning desire for it. That it's something that you can't imagine your life without. That if you don't have a burning desire for this, then you are not going to step out and take the risk. You're just not going to do something. You're not going to risk all the good that's in your life now for something that you are lukewarm over. So, clear vision, burning desire. Then put something in place for yourself. Put a bit of a plan, not a full on. Remember, you're never going to be ready. It's never going to be where you're comfortable. You only get comfortable with something after you've done it and it's demonstrated a level of success for you. So This is not something that you're waiting to get comfortable for, or you're having a full-on plan, but the next month, what am I going to do for the next month? And as you're working with that question, what are the persistent, consistent actions that I'm going to take over the next month? You're also working with the question, what can I do where I am with what I have? Because as you do that, now you'll have access to ideas, opportunities, resources that have always been there. Always been there. You just couldn't see them thinking from same old, same old. So the woman that I was sharing with you about, that I work with, she did this consistently with my help, stared down the fear, got super clear, kept taking the consistent action step, and not only did she step out and build her own business and match her income, but she's actually doubled her income while she's working from home, hanging out with her kids, taking her family on family adventures, monthly family adventures. That was a major goal for her, was that she wanted to take her family on monthly family adventures. And she's happy. Bottom line, she's happy. She's loving the work that she's doing. She's deeply satisfied and grateful for the work that she's doing. All right, so one more thing to consider when you're considering, is this irresponsible or is it a leap of faith? For every day that you hold back your good, that you keep it to yourself, is a day that one more person is suffering. That when you're not moving forward, taking the initiative, one more person is suffering. So as you listen to this and implement the things that I've shared, and know that when you say yes to that which is seeking aliveness through you, that which is really seeking to come alive through you and by means of you, you are helping to alleviate the suffering of others. This is your highest contribution that you bring to people. All right, so I'd love to serve you more. So I've got a guide, Live Your Best Life Now. It's a guide to learning how to let go of fear, self-doubt, and other people's expectations so you can live the life that you are meant to live. You can live the life that you love. If you want that, go to www.freegiftfromfelicia.com. I put it up in the description, and then you'll receive weekly inspirations that I do, and you'll be able to you'll get a link to join my Facebook group where I go in there and do live trainings to help you with this sort of thing, where your fear, your feeling of lack of readiness will no longer stop you. Let's get you going. You have an amazing work that is yours to bring. Let's get you going so you can bring that amazing work and serve the people that you are meant to serve. My name is Felicia Searcy, your Dream Life Activator. It is my joy to be your partner in believing. Your dream is my passion. Let's get you going now. God bless. Mwah.